What's good, YouTube? It's your boy David back with another video y'all ain't doing on this channel, man. And today I'm bringing y'all the annual recap video, man. So today we're gonna be recapping 2024. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you know that we've been doing this for quite some time. We did it back in 2022, did it back in 2023, and now we're doing it for 2024. And honestly, for those of you who, might be new to this type of video or whatever, basically the reason I do these videos is so I can look back on them, 10, 15 years from now and, see the growth, and also for other people to see the growth as well. I think in this, time, in this culture right now, we all think that this happens overnight, overnight success and things like that. But this is really, letters to myself, a time capsule of a way of me being able to look back and see how far I've actually come, to see, back in 2022 where we were, 2023, now here in 2024. And I can only imagine what this will look like, in 2034, So I enjoy, this is another reason why I even do YouTube. It's a diary to myself, a cinematic movie of my life, and being able to relive moments, that are happening, so rapidly. But this, in a way, the camera, in a way, helps me to capture those moments and relive them in a memorable way. So that's the reason why we do these videos, man. For some people, this might not be the type of video you want to watch, and for others, you might be interested. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me. This is my YouTube channel, but I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate everybody who supported the channel this year. We had another great year. Happy and excited for what 2025 will bring. But with all that, man, we're about to get into this video, or we're about to get into this recap. So let's get it. So to start off, I really want y'all to take this video and use it as a template for you doing your own recap and own reflection on what 2024 has brought you, the good and the bad. Try and focus, as we said in the past, try and focus more on the good rather than all the things that you might not have accomplished, things that, that you thought would go one way and did not go that way. Try and focus more so on, maybe what God was trying to bring out of those experiences, and, the good and the things that you should take from these experiences in 2024 and bring with you into 2025. So use this, again, like I said, as a template, but I want you at home to use this and go into your own time of reflection and whatnot. You don't have to make a video or whatever. You can, but just have some time. You can journal, write things down, but take some time before the end of this year to really reflect on, what happened this year. A lot of times life can pass so fast that you forget all the good that happened, all of the, the memories and moments that you shared. And also, maybe it's a good time to reflect on the things that maybe you were trying to do this year that didn't work out. And you can start to reflect on those things and like, why didn't this work out? And then maybe if you have, a similar goal in 2025, you can approach it differently. So if you don't give yourself time to reflect on, your experiences, you'll just continue to do the same thing over and over again without learning from, your past mistakes or lessons, I will. So definitely, again, like I say, every year, use this as a template. I don't want this to just be one-sided. I want you to do it at home as well. So make sure y'all are, giving yourself time between now and the end of the year to reflect before 2025 hits the ground, and, all them, influencers, motivation, hustle, all of that kind of comes out, and, you start to forget, what this year brought you. So make sure you do that before the end of the year. Looking back on this past year and kind of what am I most proud of, or what is my, biggest win from 2024? And I would have to say it's kind of obvious, but it was traveling, man. Being able to, me and Kayla, as y'all all know, if you've been following the channel, that in the beginning of this year, from March all the way until June, almost pretty much July, we traveled the whole West Coast basically. So we started out, we left Denver, got stuck in a snowstorm, which was wild and whatnot, a whole lot of curveballs that came with that, but we triumphed and, we made it to Canada, where we started our journey. So we were in Canada for 2 weeks. We were in Vancouver, which was super dope, and it was nice to just be living in another country, like, especially just having to adjust to all the nuances, like, kilometers and things like that with driving green flashing lights. So that was super super fun and whatnot. And then also from there, you know, going to Seattle, which we really loved, and going to all the national parks, just seeing the beauty of the world and all of God's creation, you know, when it came to the redwoods, just being, you know, something so small in a vastness of just greenery and these huge trees. I mean, it just really, you know, puts things in perspective, and honestly, just, you know, you can't go into those spaces without, you know, believing in God or believing in a higher power. It's like, you know, the average trees we're looking at, and we read, you know, infographics and things like that, you know, told us that, you know, some of those trees don't even get to like their mature, you know, size until like 2,000 years. So it's like, you know, who was planting these trees in order for them to get to these heights and things like that? So it just was an all around amazing experience, because, and the thing about it, it was just, you know, it was so rapid and so fast paced. It was kind of like we were always on the move and, you know, constantly going. We had a plan. We were like, this is where we're going to be this month. This is where we're going to be that month. Like it was very, you know, calculated in place. And at the same time we were working, we both went, you know, fully remote with our jobs. So with that, you know, we were living out of these Airbnbs and, you know, working the full week, Monday through Friday. And then the weekend came and we had plans. We were on the road. We were going to, you know, the national parks. We were going to, you know, Forks, you know, to do twilight things. And
as if you could outrun me! As if you could fight me off. I'm designed to kill.
I don't care.
Things like that. So it was super cool just to, you know, kind of get out there and experience the world in kind of a rapid pace. You know, a lot of times, you know, you can't really experience these places only for a weekend or something, because, you know, you're flying in or whatnot, and then you go back home. But with, you know, being, you know, travelers, if you will, world travelers, we were just able to kind of really immerse ourselves in those places fully and kind of, you know, get the full experience of living there, you know, going to the grocery stores, going and interacting with the people there. It was a dope experience. I highly recommend it for anybody who's, you know, wanting to travel the world, and you maybe like don't have the financial means to maybe, you know, do that on an international level. But there's so much here in the US that we didn't even know. Like when we first got into it, we didn't even know that there was just so much to see, you know, here in the States. So it was just an amazing experience, and it's something we definitely want to do again. We're looking to possibly do it again in 2025. So be on the lookout for that. If everything falls into place, you know, that's what we want to do, because we really prioritize travel and experience, you know, in our relationship. We're not into all like the fancy things like that. But if you know, the time comes and it's time to, you know, our lease is up and all the stars align, it's like, let's get on the road and, you know, go and travel and see these new places. And, you know, being there for such a long period of time, again, yes, it kind of feels rushed because you do have to like make the most of every weekend, but it doesn't feel as rushed as if you're like on a vacation where you're just trying to like fit everything into like 3 days or something. Like, it's like, nah, we're gonna be here for like 4 or 5 weeks. We have time to, you know, plan things out and, you know, experience a bunch of stuff. So overall, I would say that was definitely the biggest win of this year. It was, you know, it came with a lot of, you know, trials and tribulations, which we'll get into, but it definitely, I think, was, in my eyes and in my opinion, like the biggest win and like what I'm most proud of from 2024. So there was definitely a time where I felt, you know, I hit a wall, where there was something that happened that made me have to change, you know, how I approached, you know, work and life at the time. So, you know, in San Francisco while we were traveling and whatnot, this was probably, I think, around like maybe April, May. We just got to the Airbnb, right? Pulled up to the parking lot, went upstairs to grab the keys, because where we were staying, they had a, you know, a gated community, a gated garage. But in order to get into the garage, you need a key. So we had to go upstairs to the Airbnb to grab the key. We're in a new place or whatever. I'm not about to send Kayla up, you know, by herself or whatever to go and get the key and whatnot. So we went up there together. Mind you, we're traveling, you know, we're on the road. Everything we own, everything that is, you know, with us at the time is in the car, in Kayla's car. So, and Kayla's car is tinted and whatnot, but you could still see, you know, that the car is full of stuff. So we go upstairs, boom, bam, bing, get the car, get the keys, and then I go on the balcony. I can see the car and whatnot. Car's cool and whatnot. We go back down. We start walking back down. As soon as we get down, bro, kid you not, they already broke into our car, bro. Broke into the car, broke the driver's side back window. Stole. At first, we didn't really think. At first, I didn't really think they stole anything. There was like an empty backpack on the ground and whatnot. So we were like, oh, maybe they didn't have time, because literally I had just seen the car like 2 minutes ago. Saw the car. We walked back downstairs. Boom, they got us. And it's like, what? So we're thinking, you know, they didn't grab anything. Thank goodness. You know, the way we packed it, you know, our work bags and like important stuff were like down below. So like it was kind of hard to get to those things. But on the top, there was, you know, my duffel bags and things like that. So that had, you know, my camera lens, my gym clothes, my gym bag with all my gym equipment. It was a lot. It was a lot. And to top that all off, when that happened, I had some things going down with work and, you know, my remote work and things like that. So it was just a lot of life happening at one point. Like, I just felt like a lot of the things that I cared for deeply kind of just were just stripped away, and it hurt a lot. And it forced me, you know, in a way to reflect on, you know, why is this happening, and reflect on, you know, what is God trying to tell me here. And, you know, at the time I definitely did some deep reflection, and you know, it definitely, you know, it stung a lot, and it took a while to get over, obviously. But when it happened, and when I was able to finally process, you know, everything, I realized that, you know, maybe I was putting way too much, you know, of my faith and trust in like the camera and the things that I have in order to bring forth my gift to the world. But it was more so God's way of kind of showing me that, no, I put those gifts inside of you, and that you are, you know, you're the product. You are what you're bring. He gave me these gifts to present to the world. It's not that the camera and all those things, you know, yes, they may help, but they are not what make me. He is who made me. So at the time, that was kind of a very pivotal point in the beginning of the year. And then it was so crazy when it happened, because it was like we were coming off such a high. Like, we had just finished coming from the redwoods. We were driving down from the redwoods, going to San Francisco. And we had an amazing weekend. I mean, just seeing, you know, that beautiful forest, the trees and whatnot. And then to go from that to, as soon as we get to San Francisco, we're like, oh yeah, we're in San Francisco. We're in a new city. We're here for a month. Like, we about to turn up. As soon as we get there, bro, we get robbed. They break our window. We got to find a way to, and then like when this all happened, it was like late at night. So it's like, man, now we got to, you know, figure out, like, are we safe? Are we safe to live here? Like, if they got us that quick, like, what are we going to do? So it was just a lot of things just certain, like, my head is spinning at this point. So it was just such a drastic change from like coming from such a high to such a low. So that it really took a mental toll, but I over time, I definitely was able to pull myself out of it and get back right, you know? So what I would say was kind of my biggest challenge of this year was really not fully, I guess, healing or recovering from what had happened in San Francisco, and kind of like all the things that I was just like mentally taking on from that, and just the drastic change and the constant change of moving around. I think that after the break-in and whatnot, it stole so much of our momentum and like our joy with the travel, that it was kind of hard to kind of like pick back up and like get back excited about, oh, this experience we're doing. Yes, you know, we obviously were able to, like, we weren't like depressed and like moping around, you know, week to week, because like that was still in the middle of our travels. We still had so much to do, like to go to New Orleans and things like that. So we still kept the energy high, but honestly, I feel like it was never really a full mental recovery, like back to 100%. And that's why I would say it was really just, that was the biggest challenge, because with that came, okay, so after we left San Francisco, we went to New Orleans, had a fun time. Then, you know, we were like ultimately moving to Atlanta. So we had to figure out like, okay, where do we want to live in Atlanta? We need to come to Atlanta. look at apartments and things like that, what's going to work out for us. We only have one weekend here. I mean, we can maybe come back again to look another time if we need to, but we got one weekend, get as many apartments in and tour them and figure out where we're going to go. So ultimately found a place, living here, moved out here in July, been here ever since. And now, you know, I feel like what started to create more of a challenge that we weren't necessarily, or at least I'll speak for myself. One thing I wasn't really processing was just how difficult remote work would be, just for me personally, because I think I am a person who really thrives on connection and being with people and being in other people's presence, like being that smiling face, bringing the energy and the joy into the space. And it's hard to do that from behind the camera and being, you know, within your own four walls at all times. So I felt like over time, like, and then not to mention there was a time difference, because being that, you know, my job is still in mountain time and living on the East Coast now in Eastern time zone, we're 2 hours, you know, ahead. So every single day I'm working, you know, yes, I'm starting work a little bit later in the day, like 11 or 10, but then I'm still working until like, you know, 7, 8 o'clock, which really puts a damper and doesn't allow me with a lot of opportunity to go out and, you know, experience, you know, Atlanta and meet new people and things like that. So it just really started to become isolating, you know. And with that came, you know, also struggles with, you know, work as well, just because of the whole remote side of things. It just really started to create a disconnect and to start to create, you know, tension, if you will, not from my own part, but just, you know, the ways in which, you know, things are moving, you know, and moving into 2025. So with that came a lot of anxiety just with working, you know, day to day and the uncertainty of things. And then that ultimately led to like a little bit of depression as well. Like I definitely went through a strong season of depression from everything that was going on, from being in a new place, not feeling like I was, you know, necessarily trapped and didn't have a way of going out and being outside of myself and enjoying the place that I live and whatnot. I felt like I was just kind of going through the motions day to day. So with that came, you know, depression. I wasn't eating, bro. Like I literally lost like my appetite. Like I was eating like, Kayla will tell you, bro, I was eating like maybe like once, maybe twice a day. Like I went from like eating like 5 times a day, like good strong meals, to like, nah, I don't even want breakfast. Like I haven't eaten all day. I guess I'll eat something. Like it really took a toll. And it was something I had never really experienced before. But I think that also that was something that God was, you know, pulling me through in this season of life in 2024, that he was trying to kind of show me and get me to experience. And now I'm so thankful for experiencing those emotions, because that was something I had never experienced in my life. You know, anxiety and depression. You know, I've always kind of been someone who's felt like I've always had control of everything, and always felt like, you know, I can look at the brighter side of things. And I think that also came from just some things that are personally, you know, the way in which I operate and what makes me me. And that's just thriving and being with communion and being with other people and creating community around me that, you know, is happy, excited, joyful, and whatnot. So one thing I would say was kind of an unexpected thing that I learned about myself this year with everything was kind of just, it was really 2 things. So I felt like in the beginning of the year, I've always been a really good planner and vision planner, you know, the dream board and things like that. But I think what happened with this year was that I had a lot of focus on, and my biggest goal that I wanted to accomplish was traveling and going around and seeing the world and seeing everything that, you know, God has created. Planned all that great for the beginning of the year. But then I think that what I did pour in was planning the kind of not aftermath, but the after that. After we finish traveling, like what happens? Once we get to Atlanta, what happens? I didn't really do a good job of really planning and creating my vision for what, you know, what's gonna happen. Like what am I gonna do once I get here? You know, it's kind of like it went from, again, like I said, from that super high of traveling, being world travelers, experiencing like something new every single week, to boom, we're here in Atlanta. This is our lives now, day to day, work, remote work, things like that, just going through the motions, right? So it was that, and then also that what came with that was just understanding that, or coming into a realization that after doing some deep reflecting within my, own depression and anxiety, that what I was afraid of and what I'm afraid of is change. I think that growing up, it was very constant in terms of we always knew what was going on. We always lived in the same house, went to the same school, same people, same friend groups, same church. All these things was constant within my life. That there was never really a time where we were just kind of having to drastically deal with something major and change. So in that came, being comfortable with what I know, right? And kind of pretty much always being in control of what the variables and things that are going on around my life. And it also just, creates a fear of kind of like leaving what you know and leaving, what's familiar to me. And that created a deep fear. And I think that's what also created more of me getting into that deeper season of depression and anxiety from just not knowing and not feeling like my hands were tied behind my back and I had just no control over what was going on, that like my fate was really in other people's hands. And that's where I think things also started to take a turn for me in this year as well. So around this time was also around the time that my church started doing this series on the fruits of the spirit. And that's when I really started to lean so heavily on those things. Like God's timing is amazing, because going through like hearing pastor talking about all of these fruits and just what they mean, I never really kind of dove deep into these fruits of the spirit and kind of how we need to pick them up and carry them with us every single day, that I learned about more about God. Really, it's not like I didn't know these things before, but I gained a deeper relationship with God after going through this season of just understanding that I am a child of God, and that He has me no matter what, and that He's the constant in my life. That no job, no social media outlet, no person, nothing on this earth is going to be as reliant as Him, or is going to be as faithful as someone I can put my trust in at all times, and understand that He's going to always have my back because I'm His child, and that I'm not the underdog, I am the top dog. I'm not the tail, I'm the head, So going from all of that to just understanding that I was necessarily putting my trust and my faith in things outside of Him, whether that be, money, whether that be, followers, numbers, people, all of these other things that, no, He's trying to get my attention, and He got it loud and clear. He definitely, succeeded in that. So, I'm happy to just kind of have moved out of that season, but also to now be in a deeper relationship with Him and understanding that He is, who I should put in my trust in my faith, but also that He is peace, and that peace is not necessarily a thing, but it's a person. And that whenever you're feeling like all these things in life are just being thrown at you and your head is spinning and it's just, you feel like you just can't get a grip on anything, call upon Jesus and bring Him into the situation. A lot of times it's because we've subtracted Him out of the situation that we need to add Him back in, and He will bring that peace into the situation. Like, peace is not the absence of, your problems and things like this, was Pastor was talking about last week. It's not the absence of problems, but it's the addition of adding Jesus into the situation. So, and I felt like, honestly, when I did that, I had such a resolve, a peace that surpasses all understanding, that I knew that no matter what was going on or what happens with this situation, I'm going to be all right. And it's like, He's always had me through. Like, a lot of times when those things happen, try and reflect back on, times in the past that, your testimonies, things that God has already brought you through and proven time and time again in the past, that this ain't nothing, that I got you all the way. Like, He ain't never let go of your hand. Even when, like, I use this analogy all the time, like, you're holding hands with Him, and like, sometimes we lose our way. We're all human, so we lose our way, and, sometimes we let go. We're like, I got this Jesus, I got this God, I'm gonna go ahead and I got it from here. But it's like, no, you might have let go of his hand, but he never let go of you. He's still holding you like this, and like, you're maybe dragging him along until you let him, guide you and put you back on the right path. So, it takes, some reflecting to go through that. And this life is not meant to be, painless. It's like if we're called to this life, we're called to, go through these trials and tribulations so we can be testimonies to other people. So don't be afraid to share, your testimony with others, because that's going to help them get through their situation as well. And again, like I said, I'm grateful for going through that season, because it was some things I had never experienced before. And now I can honestly say I understand when people are saying that they're dealing with these deep things and these deep emotions, and kind of can share my own story of how I dealt with it and how I got through it. And like I said, I really feel like the reason kind of the end of the year might have been a little so hectic for me was because, like I said, I kind of lost my vision and lost kind of where I was trying to go. It was more so like, oh, I'm just here. I don't really know what's going on. I'm just, living day to day and going through the motions, if you will, and just trying to figure it out. So, and I think what came with that was just being more timid with the way I was planning, my goals. It was more so like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I don't want to be too bold in this. I want to just like have something reasonable, And I think what happened with that was just I became too timid, and like the things that I was reaching for were beneath what, God is capable of doing. And I needed to get my boldness back and being more bold in what I'm asking him to do in my life. I used to be, bold with what are the things I wanted to accomplish, whether it was in school or in, the beginning of my career. And now I feel like, I've taken a step back and been like, oh, if that happens, it's cool. It's cool if that, like, whatever, I'll deal with it. Or like, if that comes, great. If not, then, we move on. But it's like, no, like being more intentional, being strong with my ask and being bold and taking action, and not being timid. It's like going for it regardless of what happens, and trusting that and staying in constant communication with him, because I can be bold and move in the right direction when I'm walking with him. If I'm not walking with him, I have no light. He's the light to my feet. So it's like, if I'm walking in the darkness, I can't be bold and move where I want to go. But if he's there right with me, I can walk boldly and understanding that I'm his child and that he's not going to forsake me or leave me, right?
As great as you are, as skilled as you are, as talented as you are, I just want one thing from you. Never allow life to make you forget why you do what you do. People don't burn out, people don't quit, people don't underachieve, people don't settle because of what they do. People burn out, people quit, people underachieve, and people settle because life makes them forget why they do it. If we respect it the way we say we respect it, if we love it the way we say we love it, if we cherish it the way we say we cherish it, every single day should be nothing less than excellence. You might not always be your best, but you can always bring me your best.
Who made the biggest impact in my life this year definitely is a no-brainer. Kayla definitely was a constant rock in my life this year, especially going through everything that I was going through with, depression, anxiety. She was really there to kind of help me through that situation, making sure, whether it was making sure I was eating, encouraging me to, that this is not a reflection of who my character is, that, this is just a narrative that's being painted, and that you are you, and that you are a great person. You are, just speaking all this positivity and life into me when I just felt like life was lifing, right? So I can't thank her enough, and I love her so much for just being there. And we were there for each other because she kind of went through something similar, prior to my situation. So, and I was there for her. So we really just, have been a team and just helping each other kind of go through these things, because we both went through that kind of like that high of everything, being great with traveling and whatnot, and then kind of crashing down or crashing out in a way. So it was, definitely a growth season for us, but I couldn't have made it through this season definitely without her being, by my side and just helping me kind of walk through that season, So I love you, babe. So with that, yes, this year was wild. It went from here to here, and it was some highs and some lows, but also there was, you know, a lot of great things that happened this year. So earlier when we got to Atlanta, I went to a bodybuilding show, and this is the last time I'll really talk on this, because I don't like those people who talk on things over and over again, and like they don't eventually, you know, do it or do what they said. So will I be doing a show? Who knows? I want to do a show. If it happens, it happens, but I'm gonna stop saying that I'm gonna be doing a show, because things just be happening, and all of a sudden, you know, I can't do it or whatnot. And I don't want to keep saying that I'm gonna do it to y'all, and if it happens, it'll happen, and y'all will definitely, you know, see that journey, like I've said before. But going to that bodybuilding show earlier, you know, this year, and seeing some of the pro athletes, you know, in classic physique, was definitely motivating and inspiring. And, you know, bodybuilding is definitely something I've grown a deep love for, especially over the past, you know, year. So it's something that I definitely will say is in the cards, but I don't want to keep, you know, saying, oh, I'm going to do a show, I'm going to do a show. It's just like all the stars have to align, and when it happens, it will happen. But that's the last time I'm going to talk on that. But so there was all that happened. And then, of course, we went to the NOMA conference this year in Maryland, and that was, you know, super dope to just see and network with a bunch of new people. So many people I met, especially from that are here in Atlanta, that I'm, you know, continuing to connect with and, you know, engage in mentorship with. So it's been great, and it's super excited for what that leads to in 2025. And again, the NOMA conference is always a vibe. So you know good and well I ain't gonna miss that. Like I said, I'm not trying to miss no years when it comes to that. It's just a way of recharging your battery, because especially in this space, you know, of architecture and being a minority, can be very isolating again, and it just feels like, you know, nobody can relate. You just feel like you're just kind of that one person, you know, that is within this large pool of people. But, you know, going to the NOMA conference, it really just puts in perspective and allows you to see and be re-energized by the people who look like you that are doing amazing things within this space. So again, next year's in Kansas City, so it's up. Another thing I finally did was I put my thesis in my portfolio, which so excited to have that in there. I'll put that on the slide so y'all can kind of just see, you know, the layout and whatnot, but happy to finally put that project in there. It stays on my vision board because I do believe that in time, God will, you know, bless me with the right people, the right team, the right investors and things like that to make that vision, you know, come to life in whatever shape or form that He wants it to be. So I believe God gave me that vision and that plan, and I intend to, you know, bring it forth and bring His kingdom down to earth, right? So I plan to, you know, eventually, in due time, you know, bring that in. So that's why it stays there, and I'm excited to finally have that as a piece of my portfolio as well. Another thing that happened, we went back to Denver not too long ago for the Christmas party, which was super cool to kind of see all of my co-workers again. I hadn't seen them in like since May.
Why she keep on texting me, say put the time in. Know this paper out ain't stopping, I decide when. You know you stuck inside that ground when you decline friends. Yeah, it's too late for you to sign in. You know how many in my circle win if I win. That they wish they would've never let my guys in. You know you stuck inside that ground when you decline friends. It's too late for you to sign in. Yeah, well connected. You can't do too much about it, but respect it. I keep running to this money, that my fetish. It keep coming times I wonder where my head went. Yeah. Okay, the 6 tape summers, then ran up numbers. The sniping money, easy like okay, sleep thunder. Them love songs, really got thinking I love them. My trust gone, I ain't even picking up for my cousin.
So again, it had been a while since I had been able to just interact with all these people and meet a lot of the new coworkers. So it was super cool to kind of be out there and be with, you know, me and Caleb's friends out there, Sarah and Omar, and just vibe out for the weekend. So just being back in Denver, you know, I've lived there for the past 3 years. So it's, again, what I've known for the last, you know, couple years of like my early adulthood life. So just being back there and seeing, you know, old faces and whatnot, it was a good time. It was a good time. And then back over Thanksgiving, we ended up going to my grandpa's 90th birthday. So that was a great time as well. I mean, 90 is a big number, and it was amazing to just kind of experience that and be home for that. That was another reason why we kind of moved to Atlanta was to just be closer to home and closer to family, to experience and be around for events like that. So just being able to kind of be there and hearing everybody's takeaways and kind of like what they had to share about my grandpa and whatnot was just, it was nice. And it was also just like a great time to just be with family and again, be re-energized and just rejuvenated and feeling full of life. And another thing that happened, like I said, you know, back in April, you know, our camera got stolen and whatnot. So I've been trapping off the iPhone for all my vlogs and whatnot since then. But we got a new camera. And if y'all seen, you know, as of lately, y'all seen the unboxing video, and then that was on TikTok, and then also as of lately, the Swole Santa series. I've been shooting that all on the new ZV E10 Mark II. So definitely excited for what that camera is going to bring, and excited to, you know, bring y'all content in the new year. And I'm also excited to kind of explore more of the cinematic space and just understanding more about creating good video and good content. I feel like I already do that, but I'm super into videography and technology and things like that. So excited to finally have another camera, and yeah, we're gonna see what happens. Thank God for you know, blessing me with financial means to be able to get a new camera. So yeah. So we talked a lot about 2024 and kind of all the highs and the lows and whatnot, but I also wanted to just do a little bit of reflecting as well within this video and kind of what I'm taking from this year and moving into 2025 with. So we talked about, you know, how I said, you know, remote work has kind of just felt isolating and whatnot. And I felt like as I was doing, you know, some prayer time and deep reflecting on this, and I feel like God is calling me out of isolation. That I felt like, you know, I've taken so much time to really just be in the wilderness, if you will, to work on my own skills and to work on, you know, myself and whatnot before going out into the world, that I think that God is now saying like, okay, it's time to go out. It's time to go and, you know, present the gifts and live and walk in purpose with community. So I think that is one thing that I'm taking with me into 2025. I don't know what it looks like yet, but I know that I believe truly in my heart that he's pulling me out of isolation to be more in community and to thrive in community with others. And one thing that kind of came to mind with that was Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. So I'm going to read those real quick. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. And with that kind of just, that hit right on the nail for me. It was just that I've been hiding under a basket. I've been, you know, sheltering myself and not putting myself out there because, I don't know, I'm afraid or not trying to protect, you know, and trying to live in comfort. But it's like, no, I'm called to live boldly and be out there in purpose and community with others. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be taking with me into the new year. And on top of that, I'm going to make the announcement now, but we'll talk about it more, you know, in the new year. But finally, I'm going to be starting coaching, one-on-one coaching in the new year. So I'm going to put all the details and things like that together. But if you're interested in being coached by me, one-on-one coaching, whatever that looks like for you, if you're trying to build muscle, trying to become a beast, trying to lose weight, whatever it is, definitely hit me up. For now, just hit me up in my DMs on Instagram, DJ_Allen6. Hit me in my DMs saying, you know, you want one-on-one coaching, and we'll talk from there. It's going to be definitely limited spots because, again, I don't need like y'all 30 of y'all come at me talking about y'all want one-on-one coaching. I ain't gonna be able to do that. So I don't know what the cap is gonna be yet, but just know it ain't gonna be 100% like it ain't gonna be everybody can get in, you know. So definitely, if you want one-on-one coaching for the new year, hit me up in my DMs and we gonna talk, man. We gonna get busy. So definitely excited for that as well. So yeah. And again, like I said, I think overall, super excited to just be in a new city and finally here in Atlanta. I've lived in Denver for the last 3 years. It's the only place I've lived outside of my hometown and my home state, Louisiana. So it's more so just like super excited to just be in a new place, to make new friendships, be with new people, mentorships, networking, and all of that on a different scale. And of course, it's Atlanta. So there's a lot of amazing people, minorities and black and brown people doing crazy great things out here. So super excited to get within those spaces, especially within the fitness space and the architecture space, and how I can merge the two. That's kind of something you're going to start to see also in the new year with this channel, is like, how do I start to merge more of like my architecture life with, you know, the gym life and fitness and whatnot. But with all that, man, I know this is pretty much a pretty long video, but again, it's a great way to just like recap everything that's happened this year, because it's from traveling and seeing all these amazing places to kind of going through my seasons of, you know, anxiety and depression, to like coming out of that and, you know, walking with God and faithfulness. It's been a year, but super excited for kind of how this year has ended and the momentum I can take with it into 2025, because 2025 we coming. That spirit then got woken up a little bit, so yeah, we about to 2025, we're gonna turn up. So, but with all that, man, that's all I got for y'all. Again, don't forget to do this yourselves and end 2024 off with a deep reflection and understanding what you want to bring into 2025. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. Stay prayed up, man. We out here. Let's go.